Hey, Kurt, how's it going, man?
I am doing well, thank you. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm healthy. Family's healthy. So just right now, it's just about trying to stay healthy, you know?
That makes sense. Just keeping everything moving and going, which is good.
So you are the president of MAR, Mass Association of Realtors.
That is correct. President of the Massachusetts Association of Realtors.
And I'm sure before we know it, you'll be the president of the National Association of Realtors. I know you, man. So
you are too kind.
Absolutely. I appreciate your hard work, my friend. And I know you have limited time here. So appreciate you doing this. Obviously, you must be getting a lot of calls and emails on this as well. Kind of love to hear your take. And then, I'll share some of the things that we're experiencing as well.
So we are, and understandably so. And we're going through new times and definitely challenging times. And we know that a lot of members are questioning, okay, what does this mean to my real estate business? What should I be doing? What should I be modifying? So a lot of agents out there are thinking that right now.
I'll share a couple things that's happened with me over the last 48 hours. I've had 2 people cancel open houses, Kurt, because they just don't want people coming in the house. Obviously, I've had 2 listings that have now deferred. They said, well, we're going to wait until, how long do you wait? Nobody knows. We're going to wait until this clears over. So we've had 2 listings decide not to come on the market. And 2 people I was supposed to meet with yesterday decided not to meet with me because they didn't want somebody, they didn't know coming in, obviously for health reasons. And I have 2 appointments today, and my goal is to do both of them via either a FaceTime video or like a Skype or something.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So that's kind of my solution today. When you hear about open houses, what are your thoughts? What comes to your mind? What are you advising the realtors?
That makes sense. So just to make sure I clarify, I personally am not making any recommendations to realtors because the most important thing for any agent is they want to be in regular conversations with their broker to determine how their brokerage is making modifications to handle these circumstances.
Okay.
I'll definitely share with you some of the things that we're doing, if that makes sense, and some of the good public policy decisions I think we've made. But ultimately, I want realtors to really understand that the person that helps them form those decisions is their broker, and that's where they should be going first.
I love that you said that. So what triggered this was I met with a seller Wednesday, and at the end of the meeting, she's like, okay, I want to work with you. So what do you think we should do? And that was the moment it clicked when I don't know. Like, I don't know what we should do. I can't even advise you on this, right?
Right.
I mean, who can? But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there because that goes to your point, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that's critical. I mean, realtors need to understand that we are not public health officials. So it's important to be source of the source and give them the information that we have. And we have wonderful guidance that's come out from the National Association of Realtors. There's good information available at the CDC's website and other resources within the state. So there is a lot of really good information out there for people to make good informed decisions. And as agents, what we want to make sure we're doing is having good, open conversations with our clients and getting informed consent of how they want to handle it or how they'd like to modify. What's really important here, in my opinion, is that we have to balance between good public health policy and protecting ourselves as agents and the health of our clients.
Yes.
And also fulfilling our fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we're still transacting business and assisting our buyers to purchase the homes they want to purchase and assisting our sellers to be able to successfully sell their homes and keep the real estate market moving.
Let's say there's a client that wants me to do an open house this weekend, but yet I don't feel comfortable doing that open house. I would obviously, as I'm assuming as the realtor, I get to make that choice if I don't feel comfortable, or do we owe that to the client? I guess that I didn't really think of that.
No, that is a great question. Thank you so much, David. So yeah, I mean, I think the reality is, especially in the times we are, people need to make the best health decision for themselves and their families. And at certain points, there may be differences. There may be differences of opinion between themselves and their clients of how they want to handle things. Again, I'm a strong believer that proactive, direct communication is always the best way. Talk to your sellers, let them know what your concern is. and then find ways to modify. Now, I can tell you some of the things that we're doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things we did recently, we just had about a 3-hour meeting yesterday as a team talking about modifications that we are going to make. One of the modifications we made is we typically, when we take a new listing live, we'll list it on a Tuesday. We do a deferral of showings until Saturday, and then we'll do a 1 to 2 hour open house and open it up to the public.
Yes.
That is a really good practice. And I know a lot of people have similar types of practices. In our discussions, what we realized is that's great for the process. That's great for the sellers. It gives great access to the buyer so that anyone that wants to get an offer in has time to do so. But it is probably the worst thing that we can do from a public health point of view, to force so many people through a tight space at the same time, especially when we're supposed to be socially distancing ourselves. So we actually had a property that we had set up for open houses this weekend. We went back, we removed the deferral of showing. We used showing time as a showing assistant. So what we did is we opened it up immediately for showings. We put blocks between the showing appointments so that there were no overlap. So every agent and every client had their own individual time that they're able to go through the property. And that was our attempt to create some social distancing in the process of touring and seeing the home. Now, to go to your question, which is what happens if the seller says, I don't want an open house. I don't want people I don't know coming through and touching surfaces and potentially endangering the rest of my family. That's if I understand that question correctly.
Yeah, both ways.
In that case, I think that is 100% the right of a seller to make good health decisions for their client. And if they say, hey, I don't want an open house, we as agents should be very understanding and respectful of clients' wishes at that point and not hold them. By the same token, with your other question, what happens if the agent doesn't feel comfortable? In my opinion, that's a conversation that you have to have directly with the seller and say, listen, here's what we're seeing. Here's the information that's coming out from NAR. Here's the information that's coming out from the CDC. Based off of this information, what's your understanding and concern around risk tolerance with people coming through your home? And here's what I'm thinking as an agent we should do to modify that, to be able to reduce that risk, and just have a conversation. And ultimately, if the agent and the client don't agree, then there may be a modification to that relationship, but people have to make the best decisions for themselves right now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And the reality is not every house is exactly the same, right? I mean, you have some properties that are vacant. You have other properties where you have a family that lives there. So maybe they don't want all those people. That's an example of one of my clients. He has 3 kids. His wife, he's like, I just don't want the people coming through my house. I have another lady who's a senior, she's in her 70s. Clearly, she can't take that chance. You know what I mean? So that, I'm guessing, will play into the decisions as well.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Now, here's the great thing, David. And this is what I'm actually pretty excited about right now. We have incredible technology in our industry that really allows us to be able to do a lot of things and be able to very easily balance between public health concerns and access to properties for clients. So there's a number of companies that have 3D technology. We use a Matterport 3D camera that allows us to take a full 3D CAD model, dollhouse style shot of the property. There's a lot of other technology providers that have come into the space within the last couple of years that have brought that cost under $1,000, and the device literally fits in your back pocket and allows you to create 3D tours of a property. We have Skype, we have Zoom, we have Facetime. I've heard that agents on the West Coast have literally been FaceTiming. The client wants to see the property. The agent will go through and do a video walkthrough showing them the property and answering questions with them real time.
That's
awesome. They can even do a Facebook Live virtual open house. So, and say, hey, on this date, we're going to do a Facebook Live and allow the public to be able to experience the property through that event.
Oh, I love that.
I think as realtors, we've got great ideas and we've got great technology to allow us to still transact business, allow consumers access to properties, and balance the public health concerns of not putting people in close proximity where they may transfer germs.
I love those ideas, man. It's funny. I thought I was the one that came up with the FaceTime idea, but now you said it was on the West Coast already. So, man,
that's what I'm hearing. I think they had a little bit bigger of an explosion with the community spread out there, so they may have had to react faster.
Yeah, it's all good.
I will tell you one other thing we're doing, just as a heads up, but this has to be done very, very carefully, and I stress that 100%. If you do it, if you're not going to do it with everyone, don't do it at all. We've implemented asking the question, have you or any member of your household been sick, had flu-like symptoms, or traveled outside the U.S. within the last 30 days? But we're asking that at 100% of all customers we're coming in contact with. Even if I'm doing a listing appointment, I'm asking them that before I show up at the property.
That makes sense.
Now, that said, if you ask that question, I can't stress this enough, it needs to be at 100% with every single client you ask, because if you don't, you run the risk of violating 93A, fair housing law. So you want to make sure that if you do start asking that question at all, you ask it at 100% and that you're treating every customer fairly and equally.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually read the article from, there was a guide from NAR, and it mentioned that as well. I'm actually going to post a link to that guide on this episode in the show notes for everybody listening to this. So anything else, Kurt, that you think people really need to know right now? Like, what do you want to say to our listeners?
I think that there's a lot going on out there. And from talking to a lot of both customers, agents, and just seeing what's out there in the general population right now, I know that there's a lot of difference of opinion in terms of what this is and how to handle it and how concerned people should be. My takeaway would be, hey, let's take what's happening seriously, but let's not panic. We've got great technologies and great processes to be able to balance between public health concerns and still keeping the real estate industry moving, leveraging technology and good policy in terms of how we want to make modifications. And there's still an incredible amount of buyers out there that want to buy and sellers that want to sell. And we continue to see, at least here in Massachusetts, that we have not had a significant impact to the amount of activity yet. And that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I like, too, the fact that you're right, we can start to kind of leverage some of this technology now, and I think that's an opportunity. And who knows, maybe going forward, that may be the new way to do open houses, right? You never know.
Oh, yeah. I think that this could be a moment where we change how we do things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think common sense is critical here as well, Kurt, where, just washing your hands, paying attention, keeping distance. Just the common sense things that we all need to do right now. And if you're not feeling well, stay home. Stay home.
Absolutely. And that's a good point. That's probably the most important. We have a civic responsibility to each other that if we are not feeling well or if we potentially have been exposed, to self-isolate ourselves for the good of the public health. And that really is something that I believe we need to take seriously.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, man, I like you said you had 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes. I just want to say I really appreciate your time. And yeah.
My pleasure, David. And thank you for the opportunity. And if you need anything, any additional questions, I am always available to you. You're an incredible realtor, and thank you for all the things you're doing out in the industry right now. And it was really a pleasure having an opportunity to speak with you and your listener.
You as well. Thank you, Kurt. Have a great rest of your day, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Masters, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to this episode. I get it. You're ready to move on. And real quick, before you do, a couple opportunities for you. First off, I just want to, if you could give me a review, it helps tremendously for rankings as well as helping us get better guests, everything. It's just awesome. So if you could, wherever you listen to podcasts, if you're on iTunes, that's amazing. If you're using Android, wherever you listen, be phenomenal. I just really say I appreciate that. I just launched a brand new Facebook group. It's really excited to get this thing going. The goal is every day bring inspirational stuff, videos, stuff that's not going to be accessible to everybody, certain trainings, opportunities, webinars, everything. So it's a free group, guys. Just go to Path to Mastery. Search Path to Mastery on Facebook. You'll find a group. Request access, and I will get you in right away. I promise you. And books. I talk about free books all the time. You probably already heard me talk about free books a million times, and I know everybody loves a free book. So just go to davidsfreebook.com. on Audible, right? Go to David's free book. Get yourself a copy of any of the authors that we've interviewed. I mean, why not get a free book? It's free. It's amazing. davidsfreebook.com. And again, I just want to say thanks. And as you know, health and nutrition has always been number one for me. Just completed my first Ironman, guys. Lake Placid, 70.3 in the books. Goal was break 7 hours. Did it 6:49. Next year, I'm breaking 6 hours, guaranteed. I'm happy. I did my first one. I cruised through. I followed my coach's plan and cruised through. And next year, I'm going all in. Anyway, the reason I'm sharing that is because I'm on Advocare products. I've been taking them for a long time. Tremendous health and nutrition products. If you're interested in learning about the products, go to livelongersmarter.com. livelongersmarter.com. You can check out the products for energy, protein, health and nutrition, vitamins, anything you need is there. My friends, thank you, and then please give us a review. You absolutely rock, and I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. And if you need anything from me, shoot me an email, david@davidihill.com, or if you like, call me, 774-314-1107. Thank you.